It's said you should never drive your hero cars, and being a teenager of the 1990s, most of the vehicles I idolized were Japanese sports cars. It seemed at the time that everybody was bringing their A game. Nissan had the 300ZX, Acura the NSX, Toyota the Supra, Mitsubishi the 3000 GT, and Mazda the RX-7. When Mazda released the third generation FD RX-7 in the early 90s, they really brought their little sports car to a whole new level. It had double wishbone suspension, a sequential turbocharged engine, anti-lock brakes, and a torsion rear differential. The 1.3-liter two-rotor turbocharged engine develops 255 horsepower and 217 pound-feet of torque. Now Mazda claims that was good enough to propel this car when brand new from 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds. How did it achieve this? The car weighs less than 2,800 pounds. Besides this crazy engine, the thing that set the RX-7 apart in the early 90s was the gorgeous sheet metal. 20 years later, it still turns heads everywhere I drive it. Inside, this is a classic early 90s design. There are simple controls for everything. No voice commands, no touchscreens, no 100-page manual to change a radio station. There are, however, some modern conveniences missing in this car. The steering wheel does not have tilt or telescopic functions, and there's no seat height adjustment. So as you can see, I drive with the steering wheel almost in my lap. The RX-7 actually ends up being fairly practical. There are two deep storage bins behind the front seats that look like fishing live wells, and there's a huge hatch with a removable shelf. Just don't take this car to your local coffee shop though, because there are 0 cup holders. So how does this car feel? Well, in one word, amazing. This car dates back to an era before all road feel was engineered out of it, and the mechanical feeling of the steering and throttle and brakes are all just connected. You really feel like you're in control of this car, and despite not having any modern technology like traction control or stability control, you still have full confidence when on power in a corner. And then there's the engine. Reliability be damned, the two-rotor turbo motor is a magnificent piece of engineering. There's so much torque even in mid and low ranges thanks to the sequential turbos, and when you really get on it, it has this high-pitched whistle that sounds like nothing else out there. Now lucky for me, this car came with the proper transmission, the 5-speed manual. Now the 4-speed automatic wouldn't be that bad, but the 5-speed just adds so much more fun to an already incredibly fun car. This car proves you don't need 400 horsepower in a modern performance car as long as it's as light and well balanced as the RX-7. In fact, it feels like a larger, more powerful Miata and kind of gives you the feeling of what an FRS or BRZ would feel like with a turbocharger or supercharger strapped on. Hey Mazda, if you're watching, why don't you drop the Mazda Speed 3's 2.3-liter engine into a lengthened version of your current Miata, put on a fixed roof, and recreate something like this, with the added bonus of reliability.